Hello everyone, my name is Dryad. I am a healthcare data analyst, and today we're working through my analysis on antibiotic resistance trends, which is to find patterns, drivers, as well as clinical implications as a result of antibiotic resistance. Antibiotic resistance has become a growing global health challenge, and the WHO GLASS report also indicates it's growing widespread worldwide. Therefore, understanding resistance pattern is very important in improving treatment outcomes as well as strengthening antimicrobial stewardship programs. For this analysis, I used the antibiotic resistance microbiology dataset developed by researchers at Stanford Healthcare, having over 2 million culture results which were collected from over 200,000 adult patients. For my objectives, I targeted them at finding the culprits, drivers, as well as patterns of resistance in my dataset. And to achieve this, I made use of MySQL for querying as well as Apache Superset for the visualization. And to my first finding, I observed that Escherichia coli dominates the resistance burden with almost half of the population, with Klebsiella pneumonia and Staphylococcus aureus following. Carbapenem resistant organisms show the highest resistance rate, and that can be linked to prior exposure to beta-lactam antibiotics. Ampicillin, erythromycin, and penicillin remain among the most resistance-prone antibiotics. Most of the resistant cases are recorded among patients aged 55 to 84, and resistance rates also peak in age ranges 25 to 34 and 55 to 54. On the socioeconomic side, it is notable that resistance rates correlate positively with deprivation, indicating and suggesting an improvement in such area. So, for word-based resistance, we have, as expected, inpatient settings having higher resistance than outpatients. However, standard inpatient wards exhibited higher resistance rates than ICUs, which is surprising, but it could be due to stricter practices in ICUs. For recent exposures and prior infections, we have a very minimal variation, which indicates a very low or insignificant impact from prior exposure or infection. However, specific antibiotic classes are notable to cause higher resistance rates with the beta-lactams, polymyxins, and oxazolidinones. And lastly, with the temporal trends, antibiotic resistance rates increased until 2013 and has decreased substantially by 2013 and has been lower since then. Several antibiotics, including meropenem and amikacin, showed improving effectiveness over time. The notable case here is that of tetracycline that showed resistance rate spike between 2013 and 2015. Overall, resistance rate is concentrated in a small number of organisms, and it's evident that older adults contribute to the largest part of the resistant infections. Also, there's a positive relationship between socioeconomic deprivation and resistance rates. An important note here is that antibiotic class exposure is more influential than exposure timing. So for my recommendation, I recommend that healthcare systems strengthen antimicrobial stewardship programs and monitor high-risk organisms as well as resistance-prone antibiotics. For public health, I recommend that healthcare access is being improved in highly deprived communities and that inpatient facilities are closely monitored. In conclusion, this analysis has shown that showed that antibiotic resistance is rather a multifactorial challenge, and that's why resistance rates have declined in recent years. Sustained stewardship and targeted interventions is still important to preserve antibiotic effectiveness. Thank you. And for more information, please refer to the full report.